Now's the time, everybody. Now is the time. I hope you're ready, and I hope you're prepared for war. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, Jake of the OneManBand is back again. Welcome to another RWBY episodic review. This time we're taking a look at episode 9 of volume 3. PvP, meaning Pyrrha versus Penny. You see, it's a play on words because it normally means player versus player, but since their names both start with P, it's a joke. Now, something that I love about this episode, even before I started to watch it, was how short it was. It was shorter than the previous couple episodes. It was only about 12 and a half minutes long, maybe almost 13. But compared to the other episodes, that was pretty short. But I liked it because it made itself short. That way we would concentrate on what was in it more. We didn't have to, wait through all this time to see the important things. Everything that happens in this episode is important and straight to the point. So let's start off with how the episode begins. We see that everyone is getting ready to watch the next finals fight. Ozpin, other students, the people in the arena. Ironwood himself is at the arena to see Penny's final match. Meaning her match in the finals, not the final match of the entire tournament. But I think it's important that we see that Ozpin and Ironwood are both there watching. Ozpin from his tower, and Ironwood is actually there in the arena. They are there to make sure nothing else goes wrong. That's why they're watching. I mean, after the complete fiasco that the Yang and Mercury fight was, they're probably bumping up security and making sure that they have eyes on at the arena, both there presently and there from afar. So in their own way, they're covering their bases as best they can. So as the match is about to begin, we see that Penny is her normal Penny self, saying hello and congratulating Pyrrha, asking to have a good fight the way Penny always is, just fun and bubbly. But Pyrrha, she's still uncomfortable and just sort of out of it due to the fact of what's happened in the previous 2 episodes with the whole, seasonal maiden thing dropping into her lap, and then her talk with Jean in the previous episode. She's going through a whirlwind of emotions, and she probably doesn't really know what exactly to do. I mean, she's gonna fight, obviously, but she's just not feeling the same energy that she has before. And that only goes to show that she is probably not in the right mindset to do her very best in this fight. But she's still gonna give it her all, even though her all may be only about 80%. We also see that Mercury and RWBY are still facing off, and I actually like it. How RWBY, she tried to get Mercury to talk. She asked him, why are you doing this? Shouldn't you be hurt? What's going on? She tries to get him to answer some questions. As we have seen that RWBY has tried to pick up on little things, tried to be a little sleuth, especially in Season 2, with her following the White Fang Guard when they were in Mountain Glen, and also slipping the small little note of where the White Fang base was to the headmasters when she was being asked about Cinder's infiltration to the CCT. RWBY is very much an investigator. She wants to try to find out things. But Mercury is equal as smart. He chooses to remain quiet and simply just stand in her way. Now, as we predicted, RWBY automatically tries to make a run for it. She goes into her spiral spear mode to try to blow past Mercury. We've seen her do this move during the food fight back in Volume 2. But Mercury is fast enough to not only track RWBY when she's in this mode, but also hit her back and stop her. That takes some major skill. as we saw in the food fight, she was moving so fast she created a mini tornado, which pinned all of Team Juniper to a wall. So the fact that Mercury can track her movement at that speed, and not only that, but stop it, means that not only is he an experienced fighter, but his legs are very, very powerful and can take a lot more damage than we thought. We also see that Mercury destroys Ruby's scroll when she goes for it, saying, let's just keep this between you and me. Let's keep it between us. Because we don't want Ruby to call for help. No, we don't want her to stop the fight. No, that'd be crazy. And due to Ruby not being able to get past Mercury, the finals fight between Pyrrha and Penny in fact begins. Now, both of the fighters are very, very capable, very powerful, and powerhouses on their teams. Now, at the beginning of the battle, it seems that Penny has Pyrrha on the ropes, blocking every attack that she does and keeping Pyrrha at a distance when she needs to. The main factor about this fight is that Penny can fight at a distance and in close quarters, while Pyrrha is mostly a close quarters fighter. Even though she has the rifle built into her spear weapon, that type of firepower wouldn't really do much good against Penny's defense. And even when Pyrrha is able to get in close, Penny is still able to block and dodge anything that she was able to throw out at her. So the beginning of the fight definitely goes to Penny. She was keeping Pyrrha at a disadvantage. But as the battle went on, Pyrrha started to learn more about Penny's strategy and how she fought. We saw that when Penny puts 3 swords in a group, that then it can form the lasers that we saw back in Volume 3. So, not only is she flinging swords at Pyrrha, but also lasers. And Pyrrha dodges all of them, most of them at least, flawlessly. So, we can tell both of these fighters are extremely powerful. Now eventually, this finals fight gets to the point where Pyrrha is at the most disadvantage that she's ever been in. Her shield and her sword are both thrown away from her, and she cannot get to them in time. And then Penny goes in for a monster attack. And this, my friends, is when Emerald springs her trap. Using her semblance, she makes Pyrrha see that there are thousands of Penny swords getting ready for the attack. Instead of just 6 or 9, there are literally thousands. So, upon Pyrrha seeing this, she decides to pretty much do a electromagnetic pulse. Well, it wouldn't be electromagnetic, it would just be magnetic. But basically a pulse of magnetic energy that would send all of them flying back. But since there was only a very small fraction in real life going toward Pyrrha, it is overkill. Meaning that these swords are flown back and the wires connected to them wrap around Penny's body. And I have stated in previous reviews that the wire that connects Penny to her swords is razor wire. It is very small, but it is very sharp. And we see just how sharp it is in this context. Due to the very small nature and the sharpness of the wire and the force dealt out by Pyrrha's pulse, these wires go straight through Penny's body, eviscerating her. As far as we see, Penny loses both arms and is cut in half in the midsection, like Darth Maul was in The Phantom Menace. And let it be known that this part of the episode is very, very just intense and detailed. And it, like, as I was watching it, I was just in shock about what was going on. I wasn't... Now, somebody, I believe it was like Dishwasher 1999 on DeviantArt, I believe that's their... No, 1911, I think. Dishwasher 1911 made an artwork of what this battle might entail, and they predicted it almost spot on. That is amazing. But it still doesn't change the fact that Pyrrha pretty much causes the evisceration of her opponent. Now, she doesn't know that she's a robot, so as far as she knows, she just flat out killed someone. And she is just completely in shock, as is the rest of the audience. Now, really quick, before we move on with the episode, I just want to talk about how I believe this fight would have actually ended if Emerald hadn't have interfered. Now, it was true that Pyrrha was at a disadvantage with not having her sword or her shield, but she would have calculated a pulse powerful enough to block away Penny's swords, and then she would be able to get her weapons back. And Pyrrha was starting to learn about how Penny fought. So I think if Emerald hadn't had come in and totally messed up the fight, causing the evisceration of Penny, Pyrrha, I think, would have won in the end. But you guys may have other details that might clue you in on how Penny would actually win. But, leave that in the comments below. So anyway, back to the episode. Penny's been eviscerated, and as she's there lying on the ground, we see her pupils get very big. Now, I have seen this in, like, movies and TV shows. Whenever somebody dies, their pupils get really big. So, is this sort of a metaphor that Penny has actually died? Now, I don't know about you guys, but since Penny is a robot, I don't think she would process damage and injury like a normal human. Now, this blow that was dealt to Penny was definitely devastating, but I don't think she's actually dead in the same way that a human would be dead. Right now, I think Penny is in a form of standby mode. She's taken too much damage, so whatever's left of her functioning is keeping her intact and keeping whatever soul that she has inside of her contained. That way, the military would be able to recover her and then repair her for future use. So to everybody freaking out that Penny is flat out gone, I don't think she's fully gone. I think Penny's gonna act a lot like Lopez from Red vs. Blue. She may end up just ahead, but just that head is enough to be snarky. If you want another example on how Penny is probably still functional, although she's technically dead, think about Ash from the movie Alien, how they bashed his head off, and you know, he was a robot. They bashed his head off, but after a few twerking and repairing, he was practically fully functional. You have my sympathies. So let's just pray and hope that the geniuses behind Penny will be able to recover her body, well, what's left of it. That was in poor taste. Disrespect the dead, why don't you? And they will be able to repair her. Speaking of repairing, we actually get to see a glimpse at what I believe is Penny's creator, the Geppetto character. Now, we don't get to see much of him. We get to see the back of his head and pretty much his hand. Now, when he sees that Penny is destroyed, you know, he's distraught. He's just like, why? Why did this happen? Why? You know, any person would be. But if you notice, he has, you know, lots of white hair and a big white beard, and he's pretty portly. You know, he isn't a skinny old man. He's, you know, I don't want to say fat. He's well-rounded. But I don't know about you, but this silhouette reminds me a lot of Dr. Light from the Mega Man's franchise. And I haven't really played any Mega Man games, but I know who Dr. Light is. He was the creator of Mega Man and most of the Robot Masters, I believe. And basically, he was the genius behind the robot just influx in the Mega Man universe. So does this mean that the creator of Penny and the Geppetto character is also based off of Dr. Light from Mega Man? I think so. It'd make a lot of sense just due to the fact that both of them have created amazing super fighting robots. So with the evisceration of Penny and everybody in the audience's shock, in fact everyone around the world is shocked, the Grimm feel this. They feel the negative emotion, and they start a full-blown another assault on the Kingdom of Vale, and probably on other kingdoms as well. We just see the one in Vale because, you know, that's where the action is. And we see that RWBY wasn't fast enough to stop this fight. And we see that that was actually her goal. Her goal was to stop the fight by any means necessary because she knew that something bad would happen. And my friends, we have seen Yang cry, we have seen Pyrrha cry, and now we see dear innocent little Ruby cry. Isn't it heartbreaking? But here's the thing, Ruby isn't just crying because Penny is dead. She's crying because she failed. She wasn't able to save Penny. And that was one of her fundamental things that she wanted to do in life as a huntress. She wanted to help people, to save people. She herself dubbed Penny as a person back in Volume 2. She dubbed that she had a heart and a soul. She knew it. She felt it. Pretty much, Penny was the one that Ruby took under her wing. And now she's gone. That's why Ruby is crying. And it is in this moment that we see Mercury has done his job, and he's just going to clear out. He just leaves because his job is done. He made sure that the fight went exactly how the Chaos Syndicate wanted it to go. Now, both Mercury and Emerald are probably going to leave the arena and meet back up with Cinder to proceed with the next part of the plan that she has for them. I'm not exactly sure what future role they may play, but some predictions are going to be at the end of this review. And my friends, we see now the full extent of the power of the Black Queen virus. We see that the Black Queen virus made it so that the broadcast would not be cut when Penny was eviscerated. The broadcast stays open and then is hijacked by Cinder herself. And she begins her speech. Now, most of her speech is made to devalue the Huntsmen and to bring them down, to show that they are pretty much nothing. They can't defend the people. She makes sure to ridicule Ironwood for what he did by bringing his military there. She especially makes sure that Ozpin is seen as a monster by saying, look at what his students has done to this synthetic person. And she also talks about how the military would go as far as creating a synthetic fighter. But why would they create a synthetic warrior made like a little girl? She is putting the Huntsmen and the military in the same boat as monsters. She is ridiculing them and dubbing them as monsters. Now, one of the quotes that she uses in this speech of hers is very, very cool. She goes on to say that, look at these headmasters that tried to be something that they're not, but they are nothing but men. So is she ridiculing the headmasters and the huntsmen because they tried to be something more than men? They tried to be gods or something along those lines? We don't know how far the rabbit hole is that Ironwood and Ozpin and the other headmasters are down in what they have done to protect the world. But she is stating that the huntsmen and the headmasters of the huntsmen, they are not above just being regular men. They are not gods, they are not overlords, they're just men. Weak men. Now, not only is she devaluing the huntsmen, Ozpin, and Ironwood as a whole, but she also seems to, at the same time, be driving a stake between Ozpin and Ironwood. That way there will be a fracture in their friendship, maybe leading them to become enemies. Now, whether this will actually happen is yet to be seen, but the seeds are definitely there. Now, another important aspect of this speech is that Cinder states that she hails from Mistral, from Haven. Now, we do know that she entered Beacon Academy with her team, saying that they were from Haven Academy, you know, as that disguise. But we didn't know if it was true or real, and I know that some of you guys have posted comments stating, well, you know, she said she was from Haven, so that must mean that she has some ties there. And I believe that is actually true now. This pretty much confirms it. The fact is, why would she lie about this? If she wants to make her speech believable, she will keep it as close to the truth as possible. And lying about being from Mistral would probably just wouldn't fit. So not only is she stating where she's from, but she is also pointing fingers at Mistral and Haven Academy. Now, people are going to think, well, this person is from Minstrel Academy, you know, from Haven, Does that mean that they're behind this? Or are they evil? Are they bad? Or is it just this one? People are gonna start fracturing and asking questions. It's this speech, this final blow is what's going to drive the kingdoms apart. And after Cinder makes her speech, the signals are jammed and no communications can get out now. Vale is on its own. And wasn't it just amazing? During this speech, could you not feel the energy in the air that Cinder was creating? It was amazing, even though it was completely frightening. This speech was amazing, and it should get credited. So, due to the evisceration of Penny, the shock of the audience, and Cinder's speech, the Grim attack is in full-blown hectic mode. Something else I wanted to bring up. In the episode, it shows a patrol of soldiers. They're listening to Cinder's broadcast, and it's supposed to show that the Grimm are actually actively attacking the city by this patrol who is just doing its thing, listening to this broadcast. They're probably like, what the heck is going on? And you see the Grimm start to come out of the mist towards them. Now, not only is this scene like incredibly eerie and amazing, but I find it very cool that even when the soldiers start to shoot at them, the Grimm are running past them, almost like they don't even notice them, because the Grimm are drawn to the negative energy of the people in the arena and in the city. They probably don't even actively pick up these two soldiers at first. I mean, obviously the two soldiers are probably eventually overwhelmed, but I think it's kind of cool that at the beginning, they aren't even seen and the Grimm just blow right past them. It is stated that it is a threat level 9. Now, I can only assume that threat levels probably go up to 10. So this is pretty much like Hurricane Katrina, Mega Tornado, Sharknado, and Yosemite volcano exploding all at the same time. The only thing that's missing is the meteor. So it is through this panic that everyone starts to go crazy. They need to get to their homes. They need to be safe. A lot of people are trapped at the arena. Crow and Glenda arrive at Ozpin's office awaiting orders, and he tells them to go to the city. They need to go to the city to help defend it, to help defend the citizens, because that is where the Grim activity is going to be the worst, because they are going to start to take over the wall. Ironwood tries to settle the situation down at the arena by telling people to stay calm. Even though that may not work, he's obviously trying to do his best. And then Ozpin contacts him, and Ironwood, he wants to explain to Ozpin about Penny. So we know that Ozpin and the other headmasters did not know about Penny. Penny was just solely known to have existed by Ironwood. Well, and by RWBY and the people who created Penny, but to everyone else, she was just a normal girl. So Ironwood wishes to explain to Ozpin, but Ozpin, he ain't got time for that. The Grim are coming, he is mad, and he just says to Ironwood, "You have your army. Use it." I was waiting for him to say "damn it" afterwards. So, Ironwood's airships prepare to fight off the Grim, but we hear that one of them isn't responding. Why is that? Well, we finally realized what Neo's part of the plan was. She single-handedly took out this airship and all the troops that were on it. Now, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't fully loaded with troops. It probably had a minor maintenance crew and the bridge staff. But that is still a lot of military-trained people. And she took them out. And she took them out to bust Torchwick out. Torchwick is back, and I am so dang happy. But what he does next doesn't really make me happy. Neo and Torchwick then take control of the airship that they're on, using its firepower to take out the other airships. And then we see that the White Fang arrives at Beacon Academy, getting ready to attack it. But they have Grim aboard their airships. Now it makes you wonder, how did they get Grim aboard their airships? Grim don't survive long when they're captured. It stated that in the Grim World of Remnant video. But however they did it, what matters is that they did it. And now, not only are the White Fang going to be attacking Beacon Academy, but Grim are going to be attacking it as well. This can also explain how the Nevermore was able to get to the arena past the military's defenses. The White Fang maybe smuggled that Nevermore in with the Ursa and the Beowulfs that they had going to the academy. At Beacon Academy, Ozpin has already sent Crow and Glenda out to the city. For all we know, Ozpin is the only person present at Beacon Academy, except for maybe a few huntsmen and huntresses and students, Yang included. Oh, speaking of Yang, when it shows Yang for about the 5 seconds she's in this episode, we also see Zwei. So to, I believe, Jedi Self is your YouTube username? There's Zwei. He's finally there. So probably those few huntsmen, Yang, Zwei, and Ozpin, are going to be all that is going to be able to defend Beacon at this time. Because we see that the huntsmen that were at the arena are obviously gonna get ready to fight. They see that the Nevermore is there, and they're probably gonna have to fight their way off of the arena and then get to Beacon Academy. Alrighty, you guys. Here's something else that's very important. This is going to be the prediction part of this episode. So, we see that this plan and this part of the plan is very powerful, very concise, and is going to deal a very heavy blow. This is nothing more than the wedge that is going to be driven between the kingdoms. After this attack is finished, the kingdoms are going to doubt each other. The thing that brought them together, the vital tournament, was broken, and they won't trust each other anymore. This will not be the killing blow that will destroy the kingdoms and destroy the huntsmen. This is nearly step one in a master plan. But what will this attack accomplish? It'll drive the kingdoms apart. The citizens won't trust the huntsmen anymore. The military will be questioned due to their experiments with synthetic life. And Cinder, she's put her call out to the people. If the people don't want to stand for the huntsman's dishonesty and gaudiness, then they can join her in her fight against them. Plus, due to Neo's and Torchwick's involvement in the plan, now they have a means of escape. They have a military-grade airship ready and waiting to take them away once the fighting dies down. Now, what are maybe some of the other objectives of this attack? Maybe killing off some high-ranking huntsmen, maybe dissuading some of the huntsman students to come with them. I'm looking at you, Team Cardinal. And maybe, due to the White Fang attacking Beacon, and maybe that's where Mercury, Emerald, and Cinder are going to be going, maybe they're going to assassinate Ozpin, cut off the head of the huntsman snake. Or could their objective be Amber, who is currently stored down in the vault? And if that is the case, then they'll have to kill Ozpin to get to her. So I hope you guys are excited for the next episodes. So until those episodes come, be sure to like and favorite if you've enjoyed. Subscribe, of course, if you feel inclined to. If you guys have a crackpot theory or want to talk about crackpot theories with other crackpot theorists, I suggest you take a look at my Facebook group, Team Theory. Go ahead, check it out, link down in the description. And also, if you want to support me via Patreon, you can check out my Patreon page. Big thanks to everyone who supports me over there on Patreon, and big thanks to Duncan Ishler and Grant Allen Hill. You guys are awesome, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And check out these other videos. Well, the Grim are coming. Arm yourselves, my friends. And I hope to see you on the other side. Hopefully, we'll all survive.